Hello there. You're about to take your first steps into the field of spatial planning, which will be your home for at least the next few years to come. We invite you to do this with us in our project, Urban Constellations, zooming in, zooming out, exploring metropolitan and micropolitan spaces in the Ruhr, Minsk, and Valparaiso. We are Victor and Lyudmila, and an artificial voice, because they are too shy to speak in this video. Let us show you what to expect from this project. Our first stop, South America. Bienvenidos to Valparaiso, the jewel of the Pacific. Once the most important port of the region and economic and financial capital of Chile, today is the center of the national legislative power and capital of the region of Valparaiso. However, the metropolitan area or Grand Valparaiso is actually formed by 5 cities, from the inner valleys to the Pacific Ocean, which corresponds to 6% of the national population with near 1 million inhabitants. The Greater Valparaiso houses many different economic and cultural traditions that go from agricultural, educational, tourist, to port activities. Certainly a wide range of realities with many different characteristics, which we will try to discover many of those together. Our next stop, Eastern Europe. Dobroposhalovat Minsk, the hero city, built Soviet utopia, gates to the east, the capital of Belarus. Minsk is both the city with 1,000 years history, dating back to the 11th century, and a city rising from the ashes of World War II and built back from a clean slate by Soviet planners. Encircled in 2 ring roads and yet another ring of 6 satellite cities, altogether they form the Minsk agglomeration, home of nearly 3 million inhabitants, 1/3 of the entire country population. Being such a heavy gravitation center, Minsk draws in its orbits more and more people and land. Such vital growth has even earned its name, described by Thomas Bohn as the Minsk phenomenon, of which among other things you'll learn in this module. Landing in Dortmund. While staying in urbanized post-industrial settings of the Ruhr, just look over the horizon. What do you see? The 3 places introduced here will be our virtual and real playground, the sites of your research inquiry, testing bed for planning concepts, theories, and models. Leading you through this process will be Victor and Lyudmila. Hector is a Chilean geographer that studied in Valparaiso. He has been focusing on the spatial analysis of air pollution, health inequalities, and environmental justice, with a particular focus on socio-environmental issues and how these affect those which are most disadvantaged. Currently, he is a research assistant and a PhD student at the Spatial Modeling Lab, where he is studying the socio-ecological metabolism of sacrifice zones, including reflections about place, scale, and other forms of geographical space. Of course, he will be your guide in the metropolitan area of Valparaiso. And Lyudmila from Belarus will be your guide through Minsk. She has studies in political science, urban development, and urban planning. Her PhD research links urban morphology with methodological research under the umbrella of place-based GIS. She is looking into matters of representation and conceptualization of contemporary urban forms coupled with the human geographical notion of place. She will definitely share with you her fascination with urban form and urban planning, offering a perspective of how broad, open, and interdisciplinary the field of spatial planning could be. So, what's the deal, you might ask? This distinctive project offers you an orbit to learn and explore multifaceted dynamics, unfolding like constellations around Dortmund, Minsk, and Valparaiso, while grasping different cultural, planning, and disciplinary contexts. The project will provide you a framework to develop your own research questions and concrete spatial realities, some of which you see in this cloud. But of course, you are free to design your own. At the end of this project, We expect that you will understand the concept of scale, recognize its metropolitan and micropolitan dimensions, comprehend the sense of scale and hierarchy of human settlements, patterns of urbanization, and various urban forms as they are formalized, modeled, and represented in spatial planning. Get familiar with different planning notions and practices applied in diverse cultural and regional settings. Address various challenges of territorial division, definitions of boundaries, and the implications for the treatment of space in planning. And ask your own spatial planning questions and find suitable answers. Well, if we sparked your interest, welcome on board. If you have questions or need more information about the project, you can find us here. Urban constellations. Zooming in, zooming out.